I'm joined today by Terry Lyric from the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority and the other members of the Unified Command Team. As we continue to learn more about the victims, we are sharing our prayers and condolences with the families of the loved ones and those who were lost in this tragedy. And I want to thank again our response teams for their heroic efforts over the past 30 or so hours, including the team on this site, as well as the teams that are supporting the families. This is heartbreaking work. The National Transportation Safety Board is leading the investigation into what happened, and they will be providing updates later this afternoon. We will not be talking about the investigation in this conference. So Terry Lyric from the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority will now provide an update on airport operations, and then I will update you on the activities since our last briefing and the activities over the next operational period.
Thank you, Chief. Again, my name is Terry Lyric. I'm the Vice President Airport Manager of Reagan National Airport. Just kind of wanted to give an update on where we stand. As we know, the airport is open and operating. We are in a reduced capacity and a reduced arrival rate due to the proximity of the recovery site. We do have 2 of our 3 runways that are closed. So as always, we do want to encourage passengers to reach out to their airlines for any potential flight delays. Typically, a full schedule here at National Airport would encompass about 800 flights a day using those 3 runways. We've had several, obviously, cancellations yesterday. Airlines are resuming as much as possible normal operations. I think we have about 100 flights or so canceled today. I do want to just recognize a lot of the airport teams who work behind the scenes, and we are here to support and coordinate with the ongoing recovery efforts, as well as working with NTSB in their investigation. With that, I'll just turn over my remarks to the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. So, overnight, our teams continued search operations and surface work, including side sonar scanning, shoreline searches, and aerial searches. Also, 2 Coast Guard cutters have arrived on station, and you may be able to see them out there on the water. Other efforts off-site included the NTSB, American and PAL Airlines, and district officials meeting with families at the Family Assistance Center and providing the support that they need to get through this horrible event. We've identified we have recovered 41 sets of remains, and 28 of those victims have been positively identified. And as of 6 a.m. this morning, next of kin notifications have been made to 18 families. Going forward with our recovery operations, search teams will continue to work the site. We'll do side sonar scanning, searching the shoreline, and aerial operations. Our dive teams are working in targeted areas, and additional Coast Guard assets will arrive this afternoon. The salvage crews have begun to arrive on the scene, and they're assessing the work that's going to be needed to recover the aircraft from the water. We expect those operations to begin no later than tomorrow afternoon. The teams are also working the shoreline down the river, as we do expect some debris to be dragged by the current. And if members of the public believe they have information or have discovered potential wreckage, we're asking you not to touch it and to call 911, and we will send somebody out to get it. Supporting the response team. This has been a tough response for a lot of our people. We've had over 300 responders operating at one time, and I think we've got about 500 people that have worked through the site. So the Unified Command has activated peer support for its first responders to make sure that everybody has somebody that can help us get through this. And the outpouring of support, people like the World Central Kitchens relief team and many of the local restaurants here at the airport have supported the people working, making sure they have food so they don't have to stop. And I want to thank the rest of the community for their outpouring of support and the messages that they have given to the firefighters, police officers, military officials, and everybody else that's working. If you want to help, the Greater Washington Community Foundation has a relief fund. You can donate at the link above. We also be careful. Avoid your fundraising scams. Only trust verified sources. And ways you can help is to amplify that message using trusted sources on social media. Exercise patience through the transition as this impacts the region. Things like the delays at the airport, people are going to need your grace. I know we've got a lot of vehicles around. We've got some areas closed that are normally open to the public around the river, and we need your patience in that. Check in on your friends and neighbors, and if you're feeling anything about this event, please call the crisis hotline, talk to a medical professional, and you can use 988 on your phone. What do we got here? Is that the last one? Catching up. So with that, we're going to be able to take a few questions. I'm going to start over here, and we'll work our way across. 1, 2, 3. Yes, sir.
It's Campbell Roberts from New York Times. Can you talk about the FAA's decision to restrict helicopter flights in and around National Airport?
So the question is, can anybody talk about the FAA's decision to restrict flights in and around National Airport? I don't believe we have any. So that's probably beyond the scope of this interview. You'll have the NTSB later, and that's something I might ask them. Yes, sir.
Chief Skylar River with CBS News. Given the time that has passed, can you describe the conditions right now as related to the recovery process and whether you all think that y'all will be able to recover more bodies?
Okay, the question was, given the time that has passed and the conditions outside, do we believe we're going to be able to recover more bodies? And there's a lot of challenges with that. So I'm going to answer that one. I'm going to say that, yes, we expect to recover all of the bodies. We have that's why our teams are still working. We're going to have to work with the salvage company to do some of that work. Yes, sir.
If I may ask a question on behalf of the Reagan National Airport. This is Alex Gabriello with News Nation. A lot of questions now circulating about the crowded airspace surrounding this airport. Also reported about other close calls, including 24 hours before the fatal accident. We've seen the FAA take the position of restricting the airspace, specifically Route 1 and 4 for choppers in this area. What is the airport's position about potentially toning down some of the air traffic around this airport, and should this have been done sooner, specifically the restrictions on the airspace for choppers on Route 1 and 4?
Restate the question.
Yeah, sure. The question was regarding air traffic, helicopter routes up and down the Potomac, right? That is an FAA responsibility. The airspace is controlled by the FAA. The airport does not have any responsibility outside of the surfaces, the airport itself.
But most certainly, this has been conversations that...
All right, officials there providing an update on that deadly mid-air collision in Washington, saying recovery efforts are still ongoing and more equipment has been added for those efforts. We're being told now that 41 sets of remains have been recovered. They have been able to identify 28 of those bodies, and 18 families have been informed about the deceased. Airport officials also saying that the Reagan Airport is functional with limited capacity right now, with about 100 flights cancelled today as one runway remains shut. Now, this is a live shot of what's happening on the Potomac River at the moment. Recovery efforts are still undergoing, and the DC fire chief saying that they expect to recover all of the bodies.